What a way to kick off. I'm joined now by the IACP's Executive Director, Vincent Talucci, and the IACP's Deputy Executive Director, Terrence Cunningham. Well, first of all, thank you very much indeed for joining us again this year. Really appreciate it, so thank you.
Good morning, Stephen. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, good morning. So, at the conference, exciting to be here at the conference. What are some of the highlights of this year's conference?
We're looking forward to a great conference in Chicago, Stephen. I think tomorrow or Saturday we'll kick off with an opening ceremony where I think we'll have a couple special guests there, in addition to hearing about the IACP Target Police Officer of the Year that will be announced at the Saturday opening ceremony. We will roll right into Sunday, and the expo hall will open bright and early in the morning. We have more than 600 exhibitors ready to talk through their solutions and products with our members. Monday, we will have a very special guest. The sitting U.S. President Donald J. Trump will be here for the second year in a row, and it'll be the third time in 5 years that we've had a U.S. sitting president.
It's quite an endorsement for the IACP conference, isn't it?
Well, and that's the piece that we look at. I think the advocacy weight that the IACP has, politics aside, we can attract important policymakers like the sitting U.S. president. And again, having a sitting U.S. president for 3 out of the last 5 years really speaks to the voice of the membership. And then we'll conclude on Tuesday. It seems simple, but we'll conclude on Tuesday with the annual banquet, where the annual passing of the torch will happen from sitting President Paul Sell to First Vice President Stephen Cass-Stevens.
And Terry, what voting is there to be done this year?
Sure. So on Monday from 8 to 4, the polls will be open. We don't have any contested race for any of our elected office positions. There are 2 constitutional amendments that are on the ballot this year, and we really encourage folks to get down there and vote. So anytime between 8 and 4, the polls will be open on Monday. Now, just to add on to what Vince was talking about with the conference here, so I like to look at the conference as that 3-legged stool. So the first leg of the stool is the kind of the workshops and the educational component, and there's plenty of that. There's 250 workshops. You know, all of our committees and sections will be meeting. The second leg of the stool is the expo hall. As Vince mentioned, we've got 650 vendors out there. You know, everything from helicopters and command posts to software and firearms and, you know, leather gear. And then the third piece is the networking piece. You know, and you want to make sure that you kind of equal out and balance what you do. You know, the networking piece, to get to meet the folks, your colleagues that you only get to see once a year, is really important to people. But this is just a great opportunity, and again, to have the president here, I really do think it speaks more to our advocacy weight than it does anything to do with politics.
We live in very complex times, don't we? And each year we talk about building trust with the communities that police officers serve in, and the job that officers do. So what are some of the strategic initiatives that you'll be looking at as an organization this year?
So there are a couple of things. There's one right now that we're working on, and they're actually meeting here. They've met 3 times before. We've got our Targeted Violence Task Force. The 2 chairs of that task force, one is John Mina, who used to be the chief in Orlando, had the Pulse nightclub shooting. The other one is Kristen Zeman, who is the chief in Aurora, Illinois, who had the workplace violence attack recently. And we've got a great task force, 9-member task force. And that initiative originally was stood up by President Paul Sell, and we hope to have some recommendations to roll out here at the conference. But once we got into it, it became a lot more involved than we thought it might be originally. So President Cass-Stevens is actually going to carry that on, incoming president is going to carry that on into his next year. That's really important for us, given the kind of the environment, the threat environment that we work in today. Another real interesting and important initiative for us is body-worn cameras. There's been a lot of information where all of a lot of the state and local folks are now wearing body-worn cameras, but a lot of our federal partners haven't actually embraced the body-worn cameras yet. So we're working on that, from a task force perspective. I think the diversity, component, hiring and retention is another component that we've been working on, and probably the most important one is police officer suicide. On Tuesday at our Critical Issues Forum, it's going to be just about preventing police officer suicide. We've seen this epidemic of suicides globally. I mean, if you look at whether it's in France or Australia or all of our global partners, and then you look at the larger agencies, NYPD, Chicago's, this is something that we really need to address as a profession.
Vince, what's on top of your list right at the moment?
Well, I think we have a really good problem, Stephen, in that our membership continues to grow. And so from an IACP perspective, the lifeblood of any association is its engagement of its members. Right. So we will continue to look for innovative ways to engage our members, whether it's online communities that we've stood up in the past year, or ensuring that the conference is meeting the needs of the members. Because for 126 years, the IACP has been in existence, and while that's really important, we're really more focused on the next 125 years. We're here today with our board of directors stationed behind us, where we're going to be digging into a strategic plan so we can continue to think through where we want to be on the front side of the curve to make sure that IACP is doing everything it possibly can, not only for our members, but for the policing profession globally.
Well, gentlemen, thank you ever so much indeed for joining us this morning. Really appreciate it. It's so much to be getting into, and I hope you have a really great conference. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.